Buongiorno, everyone. How are you doing today? I hope everybody's good. I'm Alessandro Boga, the Italian specialist at Wilson Daniels. And last week we took you to Valpolicella to visit one of our producers from the area in the Dal Forno, Marco Dal Forno. This week, today, we're going to go back to Valpolicella, this time though in the Classico area. And we're going to speak to Mariano Buglioni of the Buglioni Winery. Buglioni is located in San Pietro in Cariano, one of the communes of the Valpolicella Classico. He's relatively new to the area because Buglioni really starts making wine in the early 2000s, but established itself as a name in the Verona area through the opening of some restaurants named after the most important and famous wine, Il Bugiardo, the Liar. And Mariano will tell us the story about Il Bugiardo in a few minutes. So now let me connect to Mariano and feel free to type your questions while we'll talk. Ciao Mariano.
Ciao a tutti.
Che bella giornata. Beautiful day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day since the last 20 minutes. It was raining earlier. So thanks God, it has changed a lot.
We missed the rain for a little bit, right? We were lucky.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good,
Perfect
good.
timing.
Nice. Great. How are you doing? So all good?
Yeah, everything's good. Almost.
How's the situation in Verona?
Situation in Verona is trying to go back to the, let's say, to the regular life. It's not yet in the let's say in the normal side, but everything is going to reopen within next week. So restaurants as well as shops as well as most of the business is going to be reopened very quickly.
Good. Also, I saw that you guys can start traveling again from next week, right? In Europe.
Yeah. Next week we can go out of our region. So, for example, we can go Veneto can go in another 20 regions. Earlier, it was not allowed. It was not possible to leave the region. So you had to stay, and it was like a big prison.
Okay, cool. Well, so where are you at right now? You are in the Vineyard, correct, next to the winery.
I'm next to the new winery, so not to the old one, but to the new one, almost on top of it, just because I wanted to show what is Valpolicella Classico area, how it shows. And the idea, I'm going to switch now the camera, just to show you how is Valpolicella.
Well, definitely looks better than the background I see from my apartment.
Yeah, and even much better than my face. So
nice.
I'm happy to show Valpolicella. You see the mountains behind, and then you see the all the vineyards. We are surrounded by vineyards, left, front, everywhere. Everywhere is. We are in the middle of Valpolicella Classico area, as you were saying. That is where Valpolicella started. And San Pietro in Cariano is just one of the 5 villages that belongs to the Classico area. Right. It's the one in the center, because if you check on this side, we have Sant'Ambrogio, that is up to this hill. And then we have Fumane, right there. We have Fumane with the valley. And then we have the other valley, that is Marano Valley, that is next to this slow hill. And then on the back side, so on the extremely right side, we have Negrar. And here we are in San Pietro in Cariano. So San Pietro in Cariano is the one that is in the center of the 3 different valleys.
Right. So tell us,
No, tell me.
No, tell us the story of your winery, because you're pretty new to the area.
Yeah, the story, there is not much to say, because as you say, we just started. 2000 was the first vintage, but everything started in 1993 when we bought the property, just the property, because we wanted to go and live in a country house. So it was like a rustic house. My father wanted to leave the village where we lived and wanted to find a new house that was a little bit more in a relaxed area with not many people around us. So at the moment we purchased the property, we discovered that next to the house there was a vineyard, and this vineyard was the fact that we had to decide what to do with the grape. Couple of months after the purchase, we had to decide if to waste the grape or to start harvesting. But we never harvested. We didn't know anything about. So what we decided to. I'm switching again, so you can see my face. I'm sorry for that face, but that's what I have. Yeah.
You look great, Mariano. No worries.
Yeah, thank you.
Better than me. At least you went to the barber shop. It's been almost 3 months.
That's not true. I didn't go to the barber shop, but I have the beer machine. You know the.
Okay. Well, it still works better.
And I use that one, so that's why. So I was saying, 93, we started in September having the first harvest. We didn't know how to cut the grape. We didn't know anything about. So we started knocking the door of the famous winery, and Allegrini, Tomasi, Masi, all of them. And we say, would you like to have something like 12 acres of grape that we don't know what to do? And they were just asking why you don't know what to do, because we are not in this business. We belong to another business that is textile garment, and they were a little bit suspicious. They didn't get the point. They say, and what do you want to do with the grape? Nothing. We don't know what to do, and we don't know where to put it. So we have to waste it or we have to collect it. Okay, so collect it and bring it to us. But we won't pay a lot. We say, no, we don't care about payment. We care about where to leave it. And they say, okay, don't care. Bring it here, just harvest, and then you just collect in our winery. And we say, okay, there is an issue. There is a problem. How do we cut the grape? How do we collect the grape? Where do we put the grape? How do we carry the grape up to you? And they were like, really, you don't know how to cut the grape? No, we never did it. And they say, okay, so it's much better we send a couple of guys teaching you how to do it. And we say, okay, deal. So you send the 2 guys, you send some scissors, you send some baskets, and then we will. And that happened. So 93, we did this harvest. It was like, after a couple of years, we decided that it was like a team building, 22 people coming from the textile. No one did harvest before, and we were just trying to imagine how it was. So it was 4 days, 4 beautiful days, really, all together harvesting. But the most beautiful part was not the harvest. It was in the evening that we were partying every night.
Of course.
Because, yeah, of course, enjoying being together, enjoying that we were doing something special. We never did it. And so we pick up the idea, why we don't repeat it even next year? And we say, okay, let's do it. So the agreement was done. The agreement was there, and we say next year we try to do something different. We try to do, and then every year was the same. It was partying every night. It was just harvesting, something like that. But we enjoyed a lot. So what changed our life? In 98, we had to recover part of the house that was very old and damaged. And while repairing it, my father say, why don't we build we escape, we dig a little bit more, and we build a cellar. And we say, okay, why not? Maybe we can do the wine in future. So that happened. 99, we finished the construction, and then 2000, we decided to start. So we hired a consultancy of 3 expert winemakers in the area. They came in the winery. They started to fix all, tanks, barrels, and then all the technologies. And at that moment, we realized that we were just starting to become a producer. So the idea was to do something special. You know, it has to be very unique, has to be very, because we had only 12 acres, so it was not a huge property. It was something very tiny, very small. But in the meantime, we started to put a lot of effort, a lot of passion on top of it. That very soon, 2000, we started with the consultancy. 2001, we wanted to have instead of a consultancy, we wanted to have a winemaker, a proper winemaker in the winery, dedicated just to our wine. And we started with Diego Bertoni. He's still our winemaker since 2001. So imagine 19 years that he's affording us, and he's doing our wine. And slowly we changed even our life, because 2004 I started to jump out of our family business, as I say, textile garment, and I started to take care of the winery, because nobody did. And I mean, nobody was really into the business, was taking care of sales, was taking care of you know, all the things that you have to do in the cellar, and all those kind of things that usually you should get a program, you should get a schedule. For us was just, okay, Diego is producing the wine and we do our job, we do our textile. At that moment the wine was ready, and Diego show up in the office and say, guys, we have a problem. We say, Diego, after 3 years we have a problem already. What is the problem? The wine is ready. Who is going to sell it? And we were like, okay, this is a problem.
That's very funny.
Yeah, it was very funny, because we said, okay, how do we sell? Where do we sell? That was really a problem, because we didn't have any connection with the wine business.
No channel distribution. Yeah, no.
Nothing. Really nothing. So we started to go in the different restaurants where we used to go with our company. And we started to say, can I leave a box of our Amarone? Can I leave a box of Ripasso? Can I leave a box of Valpolicella? And you just let us know if it is good, if it is not good. Right. Give us a feedback. And they said, yeah, you can leave it. I'm going to drink it. If it is good, I will enjoy. But you have not to think that we are going to point in the list, in the wine list, because we are sure that for you it's just an hobby. It's just something that is going to finish very soon. Even because it's a hard hobby, it's an expensive hobby, it's something that won't last longer. And we were like, okay. The first feedback was very negative. The second was extremely negative. The third one was even worse. And they say, okay, we have to do something.
Well, it was negative not for the wine. It was negative.
No. It was negative. Yeah, it was negative because no one was trying to afford us, was trying to help us in listing our wine. So what we did, we pick up the idea, why we don't show our wine instead of to the traders? Why we don't go straight to the to the consumers? And that's what we did. So we decided, 2004 was September, we decided to start the operation to open Osteria. It's a wine bar where you can even have some food. And the Osteria has got the name, as you said before, has got the name from our ripasso. So Osteria del Bugiardo, Osteria of the Liar. And the name was so funny. People were super attracted from the name, and they wanted to understand what was there. So they started to show up. They started to come in, and we were super happy, because we have been visited immediately. So people were coming, were drinking, and they were enjoying the wine. So we were really super happy. So that was for us, I think, the best. The best action, the best marketing solution, because quickly we've got people asking, some sales rep, and then some distributor, and then some restaurants. They started to ask for the wine, and there we started. So 2005. from our family business, and I decided to take care only for of the restaurant side and to the wine side.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are.
That's an.
Sorry.
I was saying that's an amazing story. Like within 10 years, you kind of turned it around and made it like from kind of a mistake of like finding some vines in your backyard to actually make it your main business.
Yeah, exactly. So it came by not accident, by coincidence, and then by coincidence we fell in love, and we started to say, okay, this is our second life, this is our new life. So even my father, 2010, decided to quit with the garment because he said, if you don't want to continue with the family business, I have to quit it. So he quitted with the textile, and he joined me in the wine business, and now is my best. How do you say? Is my best issue. Is my best problem, because it works against me, not with me. But no, this is a funny story. Next time.
Well, I'm sure that is critical because he wants to do it the best job possible. I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Great. That's great. Good. So you mentioned Il Bugiardo, which is now the name of all the 3 restaurants that you have. You have also a bed and breakfast. You opened recently a seafood restaurant actually in the town in Verona as well. And
exactly.
I can tell all our followers that Osteria, which is the first wine bar you open in the town, is one of the most crowded places during Vinitaly. It's with a lot of party going on those days, which unfortunately this year didn't happen. Tell us the story behind the name, because it's very interesting how this name come up.
Oh yeah, the story. When Diego joined us in the cellar.
Mariano, the audio was a little far.
Yeah, sorry.
Now
yeah, when Diego joined us in the cellar, he has been promoted from the university where he was as one of the best guy coming out of this university. But of course,
San Michele all'Adige, right?
Istituto San Michele all'Adige, exactly.
Yes.
We didn't know if he was so talented or just a good guy. So we asked one of the top sommelier here in Verona to come in the winery and taste the wine. And he came, he tasted all the wines, and while tasting the ripasso, he said, this is a very nice, soft, elegant, and very drinkable Amarone. And I was like, okay, thank you, but this is not an Amarone, it's just a ripasso. So he was a little bit shocked. So his reaction was not very, very happy. Okay, I did a mistake in tasting the wine. Yeah, exactly. And what he did, he said, so if it is not an Amarone, this is a liar wine. So my father was next to him and say, okay, if it is a liar wine, let's call him the liar. And I was in front of both of them. And I say, Dad, you remember that we are coming from the textiles, so from another business. Nobody trusts us, and we call him the liar. Do you imagine how difficult it is to go and sell it? And he said, who cares? You're not selling? I'll say, okay, so there is a story behind. There is a sommelier who tasted it, and he said that it tastes like a very drinkable and very nice and soft and elegant Amarone. Why you don't want to call it the liar, Il Bugiardo? I say, okay, I'm going to call him the liar if you allow me to call Osteria of the Liar as well. And he was immediately, okay, Osteria is a little bit too hard, the name, this and that. Okay, so if it is hard for an Osteria, it's hard even for a wine. And he said, yeah, you're right. So let's go for both of them. So both of them, Ripasso is Il Bugiardo, as well as our Osteria, as well as our Dimora, as well as our everything is under the umbrella of Bugiardo name.
That's great, and it became a brand. So in the area, it's very well known. So
absolutely.
Good. So let's talk now a little bit more about the vineyards and the location where you are. You're in Cariano. So tell us about the terroir, the altitude, and how the wines here are different compared to the rest of the Valpolicella Classic.
Okay, so even in San Pietro in Cariano, you can find different kind of soil. It depends. For example, where we have the previous winery, the ones that is just below our house. There, it's a little bit more stony, it's a little bit more gravy. Here in San Pietro in Cariano, where we are right now, it's clay and limestone. So it depends where you are in San Pietro in Cariano, but where you are even in Valpolicella. Sometimes it's totally different soil, even after a few yards. The altitude, I can tell that in meter. We are 170, 180 meter on the sea level, above the sea level.
So it's about 600 feet, 700 feet.
Okay. Consider that Verona downtown, if I'm not wrong, is 70 meter. Here we have 170, 180 meter. I cannot make the calculation. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's like between 500 to 600 feet, pretty much.
Okay. 2015, we decided to convert all our farming into organic. So we started the conversion in 16, and in 18 we finished the conversion. So 19 is the first organic season vintage, and is going to be even a good vintage. But we can say that the last the last vintage is after 14 that was not very good. 15 was extremely good, 16 even better, 17 was good, 18 was good, 19 is good as well.
So the 19 will have a certified organic label?
Yeah, it will be certified organic even on the label. Even if it is not something that we want to, to put with these green leaves and all those things.
You don't really want to push it too much, but it's going to be a fact that you are going to be certified organic. Okay.
Exactly, because as we keep saying, we decided to become organic not for a marketing purpose, but just because we live on top of the winery, and we live on top, very close to the vineyard. Whenever we were spraying, the spray was coming in my house, so I have 3 kids as well, and I don't want to give any spray to them. Of course, that was the first reaction. The reason, sorry, that we wanted to change it, and that's what we did. As I was saying before, we have two different estates in Valpolicella. One is in the same village, so it's in the same San Pietro village, but one is totally east side, and this one is totally west side, so in the opposite side of the same village. Let's say in the distance between them is 3 miles, 3.5 miles, not more than that. And in the old one, everything is the classic training system in Valpolicella. It's something that I can show you here, pergola. We're here in the new one in San Pietro in Cariano. We decided to have all Guyot, just because when we started to plant here 20 years ago, it was more how do you say, everybody wanted to have the Guyot system, right? Because they say that it was giving less quantity and better quality. So we tried to develop quite a lot, even in the Guyot system. Now I can tell you that we have 60% is Guyot and 40% is pergola. This is the pergola, by the way, just to give you an idea.
And pergola,
where you have
pergola is kind of the training system now rediscovered by most producers, right? They're going back to the tradition.
Yeah, exactly. We are planting new vines, a new vineyard, and we planted all pergola system as well. So back to the tradition, because due to the weather condition, they discovered that pergola is helping a little bit more to have
to protect the grapes, like from the heat and the sun. Yeah,
exactly.
Cool. Which grapes do you use for your Valpolicella wines?
We use mainly, of course, in Valpolicella, the main grape is Corvina and Corvinone. And those two, we can say that is around 60%, 65%. And then we have Corvina, Corvinone, Rondinella. Then we have Molinara. Then we have Oseleta. I think we are one of the biggest Oseleta producer in Valpolicella. Yeah, we have something like, it's a 7 hectares, that is around 16 acres, just in Oseleta. Oseleta is the one that has a very small cluster, very dark, so gives a lot of color, but gives even the spicy note, like white pepper. Well, yeah, white pepper spicy note.
Yeah. What do you have in there in the vineyard where you are right now? What's the grape?
In the vineyard right now, here in this portion, we have partially Rondinella. And just after that, we have Corvinone down there, and a little bit of what is there? Rondinella, Corvinone, Corvina. Yeah, but more or less we have all of them, in the different vineyard. We have all of them just running
the
different
rows.
Yeah.
Is there any? Can you show us any grape now?
Yeah, I go back to see. They are very tiny, very small now. You can't even recognize them. Anyone? Here they are. Give me a second.
Yeah, still a little bit infant.
Oh yeah. Can you see what one is almost?
Yeah.
Very skinny.
So far so good, the vintage?
It's always very bad to say that in advance, but right now seems to be one of the best spring ever had in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let's touch wood and everything we can.
Exactly.
Also, even you guys in Valpolicella lately have a lot of problem of hail, right? Recently.
You mean last year or this year?
No, in general, is recently hail has become more of a problem.
Yeah, but usually you get that during August, July, August, when it is very hot and so humid, and so whenever there is a storm, you don't know what is coming. So hail is really a very bad issue.
Right, because then it kind of kills the fruit,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You get most of the fruit that is used to get destroyed.
Mariano, you're making me so jealous. We'd love to be with you next to you right now.
Thank you, but you're welcome. You can come whenever you want.
Yeah, I know. Whenever I can get out of New York, as of now, I can't even get out of my place. So, okay, so let's discuss a little bit your wines now. You're making several wines, some of the classic wines of Valpolicella that you already mentioned, but you come from the textile business, so you have a very creative mind. So you came up with some very unique labels in your line, starting from Molinara Sparkling, which actually that's another wine that has a great story behind it. So I think that is something you should tell our followers.
You mean the Vigliacco?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not coming from from something trendy. It's just it came just because in 2007, Valpolicella producer and the consortio they wanted to stop using Molinara in the blend of Valpolicella, and Molinara was there since ever. So our first reaction was, why do they want to take out and not to use anymore Molinara? The answer was just because of the color, because Molinara is never as dark as the other, even when it is mature. But we didn't get the point, because you don't use 80% of Molinara. It's just a tiny or a small percentage that goes in the blend. So having Molinara in the vineyard, and knowing that it was a very good grape because everybody was using it, as a provocation, we decided to do 100% Molinara, sparkling. Sparkling is not famous in Valpolicella at all. We decided to do it sparkling just because we wanted to prove and just to let them know that Molinara is a very good grape. And Molinara has we sponsored with the University of Winemaking here in Verona. We sponsored one research where they discovered that Molinara, even if it is so light in color, was helping to fix the color of the others, and so let them last longer. So to take it out was not a good reaction, was not a good decision. And the Vigliacco, that means the coward. We have given this name because we said to the consortium that they have been vigliacchi, or coward, to have taken the Molinara out of the blend, because we still believe that it was very important and was a very good grape to use in the blend. So the first box has been delivered during Vinitaly to the consortium, and I don't know how, but one of the local
journalists.
And one of the local modern journalists, Giornali, that used to, it's a daily...
it's L'Arena di Verona, right?
L'Arena di Verona, exactly. Daily newspaper, right. They came up with an article, Buglioni gives of the coward to the consortium. So they were totally pissed off. They were super crazy. They came to the boat and they say, how you did that? You shouldn't point that out. And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, because you know the article on the Arena, and I was like, no, I don't know any article in the Arena. So it was a full page just stating that Buglioni was going against the consortium, and I was like, oops, I didn't do that. Sorry, guys. But anyway, that's true. We still believe that Molinara is good. That's why we produce this sparkling rosé that is a Charmat. But 3 years ago, we started to develop a new wine that is not a Charmat, is still 100% Molinara, but how do you call it? A Surly method.
Surly, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a classic method. Yeah, Petna. Yeah, Petna. So it's a classic method where you don't degorge, it's unfiltered.
Right.
So everything is still inside.
Yeah, the Moli we still don't have it in the market unless we just had a limited quantity for the customers. So, but the Vigliacco is a beautiful rosé wine and perfect for this the warm season that is finally coming to New York.
Yeah, it's very good in pairing with the prosciutto melone. So now is the season of prosciutto melone.
Oh yeah, nice. So, and then you make also another very unique white wine in Valpolicella, the Disperato.
Yeah, we have been crazy enough, to when we bought the second property, that is a quite big property. On top of that, we had only we found only some. We found only some peaches, kiwis, and the other one was a white grape. And we were like a little bit shocked. We say, white grape in Valpolicella, how is it possible? Where does it come from? So we discovered that it was like a costume with all the farmers here in Valpolicella. a little portion of the property was with Garganega to produce the white wine that they used to drink during the Sunday, family meal.
Right.
And we wanted to keep this costume. So we didn't throw it out. We kept it. Now we enlarged. We increased even the production of this Garganega, and we do the Disperato. Even if since last 3 years we added a little bit of Incrocio Manzoni, so 10% is Incrocio Manzoni, 90% is Garganega. Garganega is the main grape of Soave, so is typically of the east side of Verona and not the west side of Verona where Valpolicella is. But it's a very good grape. It's a very, something that gives a nice wine, not a huge character, but something that you can drink and you can pair with any kind of food. So easy drinking, something that you can enjoy, and is very kind of fruity. There is some kind of tropical notes together with come si dice, mandorle, almonds.
Almonds, yeah.
Yeah, almonds. That is the final note. That is a little bit bitter at the end. So this is the typical flavor of Garganega.
And for the people that don't know what Incrocio Manzoni is a crossing, artificial crossing made by Mr. Manzoni.
Exactly. There are different kind of crosses in the white side as well as in the red side. Mm-hmm. The ones we decided is the cross between Glera, so the Prosecco one, together with the Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
So you get the aromatic side from the Sauvignon Blanc and the very, how do you say, floral side that you get from Glera.
And this one was desperate to find a place for itself with Valpolicella. That's why you call it Disperato.
Disperato, because for 3 times we had to change the name. At the 3rd time I had to change the name. I went in the office of those guys that used to register the brand for us. And I started saying, guys, I'm desperate. I don't know which fucking name I can give to this wine. Sorry for fucking, but that was true. I don't know which kind of name I can give to this wine. And they say, you just found it. And it was what? Yeah, desperate. I say, no, that's an ugly name. I don't like desperate for my wine. Say, no, it's nice. You have to keep it. And I say, no. So after a couple of months, I went back to them and I say, I don't have any other name, so desperate is perfect.
Yeah. Great. And now you make another white wine, which is actually a new entry for you and also for us, for this market, which is a different wine, not made in Valpolicella, but made in Lugana.
Exactly.
And it's a beautiful wine, one of the most beautiful wines from Veneto, white wine. And you made an investment there, and now finally the first vintage has come to the market. Tell us about that.
We decided 2014, we decided to have a little bit of more white wine, but of course not in Valpolicella, because it was crazy to have a white wine in Valpolicella. So we invested in, it's 4 hectares, that means around 8-9 acres in Lugana. So Lugana, it's an area that belongs to the south side of the Garda Lake, that goes from the Verona side towards Brescia side. In that area, is only that area you can have the appellation of Lugana, is because this is Trebbiano di Lugana.
Right.
And due to that, and by the way, it's 100%, in our case, 100% Trebbiano di Lugana, or Turbiana in the specific language. We started in the 15 to plant new vines, and then 18 was the first vintage we produced, and we came up with this wine to have a wine compared to the Disperato, a little bit more elegant, more easy to pair, even with fish, even with something that was not necessarily so fruity as the Disperato one.
Right. And just to clarify, Trebbiano di Lugana is very different than any other Trebbiano. Trebbiano is considered a group, not a family, so they're not related to each other, most grapes. The closer to Trebbiano di Lugana, also called Turbiana, is Trebbiano di Soave, even though they're a different grape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different grape. There's a more common compared to, like, for example, Trebbiano, Toscano, Abruzzese, which are completely different. And that is close to Verdicchio.
Yeah,
Just better
exactly.
than Verdicchio. So,
If you want to go closer, Verdicchio, I think, is the ones that is more close to it.
right. So just to clarify. Okay. Now we get to the reds, which is, the main wines of Valpolicella. So let's start with your Valpolicella Superiore. You don't make any Valpolicella Regolare. You make only the Superiore.
No, we stopped to make our Valpolicella Regolare because, to make Valpolicella Regolare, you just have to release the wine after a couple of months in the tank, so in the stainless steel tank. And then for us, it was too fresh, too much acidity. It was not ready to start to drink it. So every time we were aging it at least 1 year. And by the law, if you age the Valpolicella Classico 1 year, it becomes a Valpolicella Superiore. So every time we were starting to sell the year after, and people the year after wanted to have the new vintage, and we say, okay, how can we do that? We don't like it when it is too fresh, and we cannot declare it as Valpolicella Superiore because it's not our Valpolicella Superiore. So we decided to stop the production of Valpolicella, the fresh one, and we wanted to concentrate the production just in the Valpolicella Superiore. Because we believe that wine needs, almost the red wine, needs some time to be ready, needs, to get the right and the proper aging. Not necessary with a lot of oak or something like that, but just to have the proper aging means months that can be a mix between stainless steel, as we do. It's a 1.5 year in the stainless steel, and then the last 4 to 6 months it goes in a barrel. That is never a barrique. It's a medium-sized barrel that is usually a tonneau of 500 liter, together with a cask that is 2500 litri, 25 hectoliter.
25 hectoliter, correct? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a blend of those two sizes of oak, but just for a few months, just to get a little of oxygenation, slightly tannic, but just a little bit, but very sweet and soft tannins. Is never a new oak, otherwise could become too aggressive and too intense. We want to have a Valpolicella Superiore that is very elegant, that is kind of floral, fruity. One of the most typical flavor that you get from any kind of Valpolicella can be the fresh one, can be the Superiore, can be the Ripasso or Amarone as well, Recioto. The main flavor that you should find is cherry. Yeah, cherry is the typical flavor that you get from Valpolicella. Just because even we are surrounded by cherries, because Valpolicella was very famous for cherries. We still have not a huge production, but we still have a production of cherries. But it has the flavor and the smell of cherry in the evolution of, sometimes it's more acidic cherry, sometimes it's very mature, sometimes it's the dark one, sometimes it's the red one, but you get always the cherry note.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. It's also the season now, so you must be smelling cherries all over now.
Yeah, we started a couple of weeks ago to eat the first cherries. They are not the top, but they were good.
Good.
Yeah.
And then the Ripasso, the Buzzardo, which you already explained the story behind it, but tell the winemaking.
Yeah, the winemaking of any Ripasso is usually a process where, as soon as you finish the fermentation of Amarone, you take out the wine from the fermentation tank and you leave the skin of Amarone on the bottom of the tank, and you bring your Valpolicella Superiore on top of the skin of Amarone. So in the same fermentation tank, you let the Valpolicella goes through the skins of Amarone, and there is the process. The name of Ripasso means pass the gain. Is where it passes through the skins of Amarone, and it starts to have a secondary fermentation It's a very fast fermentation, 3 to 4 days, but that allows to extract from the skins of Amarone, you know, the color, the body, a little bit of structure. So usually it becomes a Valpolicella Superiore with a better structure, with a better body, a little bit more intense, a little bit more body. And it was because in the past, when it was difficult to have a regular summer season, they wanted to have a Valpolicella Superiore that was with the higher structure. And due to that, they decided to try this kind of solution, and it's still working very, very good. Then we age our ripasso again a little bit more in the cask for another 10 months, and then we start bottling. We start all the process of aging at least 1 year in the bottle. So our ripasso, instead of being in the market after 2 years, we usually go in the market after 3 to 4 years.
Cool. Nice. And then the Amarone, which is kind of, you know, the main wine. And first of all, why did you decide to change the bottle from Bordeaux to Burgundy?
Because we change even our style in production. We changed our style because in the beginning, when we started with this consultant, they introduced to us, you know, barriques. They introduced to us the way of having this big and bold Amarone style.
Right.
Slowly, but not so slow. We understood that we didn't like this kind of
Style,
wines and style. So we decided to, in 2010, we decided to take out all the barrique from the winery, from the cellar, and we started to introduce tonneau, 500 liter, cask, medium size, 25 hectoliter, and cask of 50 hectoliter. So Amarone started to go from 100% barrique to a blend of the 3 different sizes, where 50% is the 50 hectoliter. So imagine from 225 liter barrique to 5,000 liter cask. How far is the difference in tasting between something that is very tannic, that is very you know, powerful, strong, bold, as we say it, to something that to a wine that is totally different, super elegant. We keep saying is a feminine Amarone, so it's very elegant, soft, smooth. It's something that you can pair with a lot of food. Approachable. Is not rough. Is not showing the alcohol that it has. Even if it has alcohol, in this way it doesn't show up the alcohol. So it becomes a much more, we say, a much more easy drink in Amarone, even if it is not easy to produce in this style.
What I find in your Amarone in particular, in all your wine, your red wines, but in particular for the Amarone, is this really strong freshness that really support the alcohol, which counterbalance the alcohol, which makes it very pleasant and approachable Amarone for food pairing as well. Which actually brings me the question to creative food pairing, which you are an expert of with you for your Amarone. So tell us about a few very interesting and successful food pairing that you tried in your restaurants.
Yeah, you know, since when we started to have those osteria, and then we opened the locanda, so the classic Italian restaurant. 2 years ago, we opened a fish restaurant in downtown, just because we wanted to prove people that Amarone goes very well with fish, because most of the people, they say, okay, fish goes with white wine. But I've been lucky that something like 10 years ago, a friend of mine from Sicily, he came to our restaurant with a lot of scampi. I don't know how you say in English. I think baby langoustine. Baby langoustine. He came up from Sicily with it was a full basket of fresh baby langoustine still alive, and I was super happy because I'm in love with this fish. And they say, what would you like to drink with the scampi? Would you like to, or would you like to open up a Franciacorta or what else? And he said, no, you should open your Amarone. And I was like, okay, come on, don't start joking. Let me know what you want to pair with this fish. And he say, open up your Amarone, please. And I was like, okay, he's still joking. After a few minutes, I went back again and I said, now that you are working on preparing this scampi, what would you like to drink? And he said in Sicilian, I can't repeat, but was like, open up your fucking Amarone because it's the wine that you have to try to pair with. And I was like, okay, he's serious. And I did. So I opened up the Amarone, and then I started to eat, the scampi, open butterfly, a little bit of olive oil, of course our olive oil, but no, in general, good olive oil. And drinking, pairing with Amarone was like wow for me. It was like, okay, now I got the idea how I should drink Amarone. And there I realized that Amarone should not be even promoted with, usually it was with any kind of a strong food or with cigar or with, with something that was crazy. And I was like, okay, how many times do I eat wild boar? Or how many times do I smoke cigar? Almost never. Okay, we should start to pair in a different way. So 2 years ago, we opened this restaurant. Just to, not to prove, but just to let people try Amarone together with scampi, with raw scampi. Amarone together with some other fish that pairs really, really, really very well. It depends on Amarone and it depends on fish as well. So
Of course,
the pairing is not so easy, but it pairs really, really very well.
Well, and I can guarantee that I was skeptical at the beginning when you proposed that, but after trying it, it was definitely very pleasant and a great idea. Which again, people tend to think some kind of streamlined way of pairing wine, and sometimes you can be just very creative and make it a great food pairings as well. So, Mariano, we don't have that much time left. So, is there anything else you want to add?
No, if you have some more minutes, I can drive with my car. I go towards the restaurant that is very close.
I would love to, but the problem is that we are running out of time and then it's going to be cut off the streaming. So
no problem. Next time we will.
Right. So we have a question from Anna Bui that you know well.
Yeah.
What's the minimum required drying time for Amarone? It's about 3 months, right?
Yeah, every season they change according to the season, because if it was a very warm season, is a little bit shorter. If it was a cold season, is a little bit longer, but usually never before the 1st of December. So whenever you start, you can start beginning of September, middle of September, end of September, you can start your harvest. And then it has to stay by the law at least till beginning of the first of December. In the past, it was even up to middle of December, sometimes end of December. So imagine 3 to 4 months just for drying.
Right.
And there you waste 30 to 40% of the water because of evaporation. And so you get the production that from 1 kilo, you need almost. What is it? 1.2, 1.3 kilo to do one bottle. So it's a very long process. It's something that you waste a lot of not only time. You waste a lot of quantity just because of evaporation, just because of all the processing.
I see. Yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you want to add?
Right now, no. Yeah, the only thing I want to add is you have to start to come back again to Italy, visiting. We have even the facility side, but a part of that is because we need to party together again.
With some grappa.
Yeah, exactly, grappa grappino.
Yeah, you have no idea how much I'm looking forward to that. It's just we're gonna get there soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to start again, really.
Yeah, same. Well, thank you so much, Mariano, for
Grazie
your
mille.
time. That was very, very interesting. Perfect, great. And to all our followers, thanks for your time again today to follow this IG Live. If please follow Mariano at Mariano Buglioni, which you can see in the pinned comment, the tag, and also the new handle of the winery is at Cantina Buglioni, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if you have any follow-up questions, just reach out to Mariano there or to us at Wilson Daniels. Well, meanwhile, while we wait to get back to Italy, Mariano, I look forward to seeing you, and I'm gonna celebrate with some of your Amarone in the next few weeks.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for listening to my very bad English, but
no, it was perfect.
Santi was not bad. Okay.
Have
Grazie
a great
mille,
weekend,
Ale.
everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Ciao.
Mariano. Buon
Ciao,
weekend.
buon weekend.
Ciao.
Grazie.